primary ignition.
This is Star Wars.
Look out!
Core World News.
You may fire when ready.
From the right center of the galaxy, I'm Grex Contact, and you're listening to Core World News, your whole news service providing in-depth coverage of all the latest stories from around the galaxy. Welcome to our annual Core World News Director's Draft. And now, here's Ben and Adam to share their picks.
All right. Thank you very much, Grex. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Good to be speaking to you again. And that's amazing. It is an annual thing we're doing now, isn't it? I didn't think of it that way, but Grex really shed some light on it.
Grex says so. That is now the new galactic law. Yeah.
Because we did do this last year and maybe the year before. So
yeah. And I have zero recollection.
Because we've done this before, right?
We totally have. Yeah. We have, but I don't know who I picked. I for all I know, it's going to be the exact same list. Who knows?
Who knows? So we're going to talk about directors today. Piggybacking a little bit on a conversation, but we probably had off air last week, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But we were just talking about, where Star Wars is going to go. And, the show has a lot to do with, well, what are the stories being told? What's the synergy?
I mean, they look directly to our show to find out where to go.
Obviously.
We have evidence. Yeah.
This is vital service we're providing.
If you want to know what's guiding the ship, look no further.
Yeah. right next to me, I have a board with strings that proves they're borrowing.
What's that robotic jib arm behind Adam? Why is he raising off the ground, floating through the air?
So, but that's the game we like to play. So here we are. But it is kind of fun to think about who could make a new Star Wars in a fun and interesting way.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a little round robin thing here. You guys, just like looking at directors, what direction did you try to go in as style-wise?
Fun. So like an opening question of like kind of how we compiled our list. I just thought about, first of all, I initially thought about, would this director even be interested in making a Star Wars film? That's kind of my impetus for all this. I was like, would they even, entertain the idea of making one of these behemoth films, and like all the moving parts and the fan fervor and the bureaucracy and the, all the checks and balances that go with that. And I decided that I was just going to disregard that idea and just go for people that I love and just hopefully that they would, take the opportunity to do one. So I picked some people who certainly wouldn't. This is not in their palette to do this sort of a thing, but nonetheless, I did choose people who I think would make an interesting Star Wars film.
I love that you did it that way, Grant. Adam, did you do something similar? Because I had a different take.
I did something similar, but I kind of got to the same place as Grant because I was just like, and I did it. Right. Mine's a little more cynical, where I wasn't like, well, hopefully they'll do it. I'm like, well, if you offer them enough money,
that's what I thought too.
They probably would be. It'd be hard for someone to say, like, there's a couple directors where I might like scratch off the list completely, where I'm like, there's not enough money. They would just be like, no, I'm not gonna do that ever. But there's relatively few who wouldn't want to. Like, it's also like, how could you not? To be like, you have the ability to write and direct a Star Wars movie. Like everyone's a Star Wars fan. Every director is a Star Wars fan.
Making a Wagnerian opera, it's not. It's really just the ultimate in scale is kind of what it is at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It's an amazing opportunity. And how could we ever know? If they were big Star Wars fans, we wouldn't even know. I didn't know Robert Rodriguez was a big Star Wars fan,
right?
Till Book of Boba came out. Like that, you just don't know. And then of course, you don't know who would take it and who wouldn't. So why play that game? I didn't even think that much, though.
No, yeah. Well, what were you doing when you put yours together?
It was an afterthought. I was like, I was going through names. I'm like, I love that style. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, wait. I started going back through, and I'm like, they would never make a Star Wars. And then I was like, should that matter?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They would. Yeah. Because my opening thesis is that every director is a fan of Star Wars. They may not be a fan of all of Star Wars, but you can't be a director and look at A New Hope and say, that didn't inspire me, or that didn't, do something for me, or that's not a masterpiece. And then to be offered to play in that world, like who would just be, again, there are a couple that'd be like straight out no, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone who would turn their nose up at that completely.
Definitely. I mean, I think I personally would prefer it if they sought it out and was like, I've always wanted Star Wars. This is my thing.
Yeah.
But But yeah, that's probably a clutch component.
I also tried to leave some obvious directors off the list, like directors who had recently directed giant sci-fi epics. I was like, that's just too obvious at this point. And then other directors who have talked about Star Wars quite a bit and are also directing huge blockbusters. I left them off the list because they're just not interesting picks to me. I was like, these are not interesting picks.
Yeah. Well, my number 3 is going to be a not interesting pick to you then.
But I do think the 2 that I'm thinking of would make a Star Wars film I would like. A good Star Wars film for me, in my opinion, but subjectively. But should we get into it?
Like Villeneuve, like you wouldn't pick Villeneuve, right? None of us picked him.
Who? Oh, Villeneuve. Denis? I thought he was
weirdly. I didn't.
Pick. I thought that was an obvious pick, and
I don't think
fun. It's nothing to talk about there. It's like it would be an interesting cerebral Star Wars film. Don't get me wrong; it'd be incredible. Like he would make
and beautiful,
and he should gorgeous, and he should make a Star Wars film. I just thought that was so obvious. Like it was like clearly he should do it, but he's so wrapped up in Dune for the next
which is good.
6 years.
Keep doing Dune. You're doing an amazing job. Do all the Dune. Ever.
Right.
Like, and you almost don't need to do Star Wars after you've done Dune, because that's I actually like both universes almost equally, and I think that the Dune books are just hold a place in my heart. I love those books deeply, and I feel like he's doing right by them, and finally they're getting justice. That I just don't want to move from that universe, that galaxy.
And I think I didn't pick him because I've been slowly working my way through the Dune books. And I'm on the 3rd one right now, Children of Dune, which I'm really enjoying it. But there are moments where I'm like, part of what's happening to me is like, oh man, so this is where that came from in Star Wars. And I don't want, this is gonna sound a little whatever.
In terms of prophecy and things like that.
I don't want the norms to start noticing how much
the normies
Dune and Star Wars have in common. And so then to have the director of Dune start directing Star Wars movies, it's just like, oh man, you're gonna ruin it for everyone. like don't do that.
You're drawing a straight line there.
Yeah.
Balia of the Blade? I feel like that's familiar.
I feel like there's already too much overlap. Like, it's people were like, was that a Star Wars movie?
Yeah, right.
Really?
Kind of.
Almost.
I feel sorry for the person who walked out of Dune being like, that was a great Star Wars film, guys.
You know what? I needed another Death Star.
Yeah. I really could use the Death Star up there.
Yeah. Grant, one of the characters who wouldn't include a super weapon. Just joking. Joking.
Yeah, that could be the first question. Like, what are your thoughts on super weapons?
They can be done right. I still believe in super weapons, guys. I'm actually I hold out on the super weapon front. I think
I'm not necessarily against it. We'll see. Show me something new.
Super weapons in the EU, right?
Oh yeah.
Right?
I also didn't pick Nolan.
No, I didn't either.
I thought Denis Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan would make Star Wars films that I would really love. Like, I really do think that if those two, if either of them made a Star Wars film, I would adore it. I know I would.
I also want to get it out of the way right now. I did not pick Matt Reeves.
Oh, you didn't?
I never even thought of Matt Reeves. We had some behind the scenes joking text because I am one of the odd men out who absolutely loved the Batman.
Yes.
Fully acknowledging every critique of it is absolutely 100% correct. Still loved it. That is not what I'm looking for in a Star Wars movie, though. Does that make sense? What Matt Reeves is doing, I'm not looking for in my Star Wars. But what have you picked him?
I was lukewarm on the Batman, but I do feel Matt Reeves truly understands the essence of Batman, the obsession, the dark nature of the character. I think and the psychology of the character. I think he really does understand all that stuff to a T, that if he translated that to Star Wars, he would do a great job exploring characters and doing character studies there. But I don't know. The Apes movies were spectacular. I adored them. It's
but his movies are very dour.
I don't know what movie that would be. As we talk about these films, as we talk about these directors, I think we'll talk about what sort of Star Wars film they would make. And I'm sure as we talk through these directors, we'll eventually come back to Matt Reeves and be like, you know what, he would be good here. You know what I mean? Like, as we dive into genre and dive into plot and scenarios and stuff.
Do you want to get us going then, Grant?
I mean, okay, my first pick is Matt Reeves. Mace Windu film. All right, you want me to go first? Okay, I'll go first. I picked Cary Joji Fukunaga first as my first pick for someone who I think could make a spectacular Star Wars film. I'm a huge fan of True Detective Season 1.
Knock that off my list.
He's able to deal with really, really dark elements in both Beasts of No Nation, and apparently his drafts of It were pretty dark.
Yeah.
That the studio passed on them and things like that. But yeah, he could deal with dark stuff. He could do really interesting work with I think the dark side of the Force, and then also heroics in obviously No Time to Die he directed, and he can show off heroics. He can give heroes a good ending. I think he can really land the plane, and and I love and he's great. He does trick shots. He's really invigorating in terms of cinematography and camera movement, and I think he would do superb at one of these sort of films. So yeah, that's my first pick, Fukunaga.
So I will come in and say that was my number 3 pick.
Wow.
Yeah, which is fine. Which I'm so happy is your first. The reason why he got on my list was because of No Time to Die, just because it demonstrated that ability to direct a franchise and to come into a franchise that's had a style already set up. Mm-hmm. Who's had some trials and tribulations, right? Like if you look at the last Bond series, there's been some highs and some lows, and you said it, like landed a plane. He's also born in 1977, so he has that going for him. Especially going for him. But yeah, I think No Time to Die. My wife and I are very split on our reviews of that movie. I absolutely loved it. It was the ending I never thought they would do, and they did it, and I really appreciated it.
It's almost the character you never thought that would happen to. And in a lot of scenes throughout the film, used in different ways. I thought it was just groundbreaking work for Bond. Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of the film. It's like not my favorite, in that. Yeah. Those Daniel Craig.
It's right in the middle films. For me. It's number 3 of those.
Yeah, it's. I think it's probably 4 for me. I liked almost all of them before that one, but I just think that the ending and just how and the villain. I think the villain in that movie is spectacular. I think really great voice work with it. I think that's what's missing from Star Wars for me is the villain's voice in the film and how prominent it is and what it's doing to the characters and sort of like how it's twisting the narrative. To me, the villain's voice, like Darth Vader's booming voice in the original trilogy, like has not been matched yet. And I'm waiting for someone to bring that back. And he might be the guy given the villain in No Time to Die.
Yeah. So Ben, feel free to cut this out. I need a little Bond sidebar for a second, or put it at the end. What is your wait? So it's number 5. What's number 4?
Probably because that would I.
Or what's number 5? What's your
Quantum of Solace have to be up if I did that?
Okay, and then number 5 is Spectre.
I like Quantum of Solace. I don't know why. I think the beginning of that movie has one of the best intros.
Oh, the intro is amazing.
The intro is unreal. It's like Aston Martin's like going between shadow and light, like in a tunnel. Like there's just it's
really good. I will always argue if you watch Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace back to back, it's the best Bond movie ever. If you separate them out and watch them separately, Quantum of Solace does not hold up. But it's a great 5-hour Bond movie.
I like the opera scene where Bond's listening to all the oligarchs.
Yeah. but Spectre's number 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that bit.
Very good.
There's just parts of that movie that I love.
It's beautiful.
A CG nightmare at one point. There's like an AC-130 he has to land in like a desert canyon. It's awful, but like there's parts that are bad. Don't get me wrong, but
it was clear that it was made during the writer's strike.
I don't know. If I went back to watch it, I'd probably like No Time to Die more, given the villain is so potent in that film.
Wait, so what's your number 1? What's your favorite Bond film?
Oh, Skyfall. I think Skyfall.
Oh, interesting.
So you guys, but you didn't think about Sam Mendes for
Interestingly, no.
That's a great choice.
It's a good choice. He's not on my list, but totally could make it on there. Yeah.
So I was just thinking, I was like, if we're gonna pick a Bond guy, which is a great idea, because there've been some good ones, but Skyfall, I agree, far and away, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Well, heck, I'll make that my third one then.
Well, there you go. You can claim him.
Yeah, because I don't really have. I have
table.
like 20 names on a list, and I'm like,
yeah. I would never pick Sam Mendes just because of American Beauty. But moving on.
Yeah,
that automatically disqualifies him.
I know, but I know. Revolutionary Road. It's a great film.
Yeah, 1917 is an amazing director feat of directing.
Wait, guys, Road to Perdition is Sam Mendes.
I know.
Guys,
I love Road to Perdition.
Literally one of the greatest films.
It's so good. It makes me cry all the time. American Beauty disqualifies him from anything, even though I got into a 5-minute argument with my...
I think American Beauty is important in the time of America and sort of that apathy.
Yes, it is the most 1999 movie ever made.
Yeah. It's very 1990. Like it's almost like of its time more than any other film. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I got to do an argument.
Oh, but you know what? He did Skyfall, and he did Spectre.
He did Spectre.
Yeah, Spectre's that would mean I think Spectre's the one I would put underneath.
Oh yeah, Spectre's number 5.
I think Quantum of Solace and Spectre at the bottom of the Craig list, right? No matter for most people.
I mean, it depends.
I have to be a contrarian though. I have to like those films more just because people would rate them at the bottom. I have to now.
That checks out for Grant.
How I operate.
But I will say, Quantum of Solace is going to have a renaissance at some point. I do agree. I think it's
the title almost makes no sense, but you're just like it's just such a it's a baffling film. But I like some of the scenes in there, especially.
Did I ever tell you I got into an argument? So I was in college. I was a sophomore in 1999, and I got into an argument with my film director about why American Beauty was the best movie ever, arguing that it was the best movie ever. He told me it was trash. I wrote amazing papers throughout the semester and still got a B in that class, and I swear it's because he and I got into an argument about American Beauty.
Wow.
But
it's just like okay,
you're like, look at that plastic bag.
But no,
I know, right? Looking back. He was right. I deserve to be just for that hard take.
But I want to need more insight on this. Why is American Beauty? I don't want to turn this into American Beauty podcast, but like, why is it
too late
looked down upon?
I mean, so here's the thing. Like, I think it's a beautifully directed film because it's Sam Mendes, right? Like, it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. It is the most literally for scenes masturbatory film I've ever seen, self-masturbatory film I've ever seen, where it's just like I just rewatched that film and I'm like, I don't care about this, and it's so heavy-handed in its themes, I feel like, and like I don't know, it just I don't think it holds up.
Progressive for the time.
Yes, I think it is a great film if you could go in a time machine, erase all memory, and be your 1999 self. It's great.
Well, that's, I mean,
the whole like fantasizing adultery thing is not cool, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just like that's probably like, that's not cool. Yeah, I agree. There's elements in that film that are just extremely disturbing. But
I'm also being like cheeky.
I think I like the story next door, like the neighbor kid and his dad. I think that's a good story almost. And like it sucks that you have to have the Kevin Spacey story. Like,
well, I mean. There's that. I mean, okay, so let's just, all joking aside, the rest of his movies, Road to Perdition, as you mentioned, Revolutionary Road, 1917, like, yes, give him a Star Wars. I'm joking. Like, he'd be amazing at a Star Wars.
Because, like, it depends what direction you want Star Wars to go, but I think, I'd like, the next Star Wars to have some good story to it, right? Like,
yeah.
What would that battlefield like? What would that 1917 be for Star Wars? Like the battlefield film of like people trekking across a war zone.
Almost like, imagine
Rogue
Fallujah.
Yeah.
Ooh, don't even throw out Fallujah and not. Oh
yeah,
dude, you could call the movie Fallujah, and I would throw my wallet at the theater.
Yeah, they're just like trekking across Fallujah, and you're getting like AKs or what are they called? And not AKs.
Don't do this to me. AT-ATs?
No, those like praying mantis.
Oh, yeah. I think it might be Ackley's. You might be right. Ackley's? I think that sounds... Ackley's.
The green thing from the Coliseum? The big green praying mantis thing?
Yeah.
Ackley.
Yeah.
It's our Star Wars hive mind. We can always get to the right answer if we just start saying random consonants. We will eventually get there.
We'll meet you halfway.
So,
core world.
What's that? 20 minutes and we've done one director? 8 more to go.
We did Sam Mendes. Is that even on it? Is he on anyone's list right now?
Ben said he might claim him, but you don't
Okay.
don't feel.
No,
don't feel
I'm claiming him now. I'm claiming him
now.
now.
All right, we have two down.
He's going to be my third.
All right. So I'll go if that's all right.
I think we can skip Ben's third at this point.
I know we did Grant's
just did
first, Ben third. Adam's gonna go his second. No, I'm just gonna go. I'll go my first.
Yeah. So that's my first. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. It's not in no particular order. It's my list, but I'm gonna say Robert Eggers.
Oh wow.
Fantastic pick.
Yeah, and so this might be my most out there. He directed the Vivitch, the Lighthouse, and the upcoming The Northmen.
Yes, I am looking. It's my most anticipated film, The Northmen. By the way, I'm hoping to get into kind of Norse, culture and the battlefield, and
its logline is basically an Amaleth-inspired Viking revenge saga. Like that.
Yeah. I can't wait for this film.
I cannot either, and I love his style. And then I watched this, and this is the trailer for this is what sold me on him being able to make a Star Wars movie, because The Witch and The Lighthouse are really small movies, but he has a sense of style. I have one other thing is that he also works with co-writers in all of his films.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that is a winning and proven plus in Star Wars, is that he works well with others in writing, right? So get him a Star Wars nerd, right? Who can write with him and can get him the deep Star Wars lore. I mean,
he would handle like the phantasmagoria of like a Force vision better than most, I feel. And then he's so elemental, it's so primordial. Like the work is incredible.
And because of that, because every single movie he's directed so far, all three have been the blank, is I was trying to think, what do we call it? And I'm like, the Sith? No. How about the Outcast? Like his movies are small and it really follows an individual. So this might break the ensemble thing, but maybe the people hunting this person might be the ensemble cast, and your main character is an outcast Jedi of some kind.
I love that.
I want to see, I think he is maybe the person to do
Soul.
Old Republic, right? And it's
Green
just
light,
following a single outcast character, right? Like that's what I want to
incredible.
see.
That's like Acolyte, but
Ty Yorix. Did you say Ty Yorix?
Yeah. No, but I like it.
That he could do the Ty Yorix.
Yeah,
stuff.
Ty Yorix would be amazing. So that's kind of my most out there. Would he? I think he would.
Yeah, this could be even displaced at a different point in time where it's like a Sith running from the Sith, or like a Jedi,
totally.
Jedi early times, like primordial, like the
super
earliest Jedi, the earliest Sith sort of thing, and be very poetic, like a tone poem kind of thing that's like really plays to this journey. I don't know, a journey of sorts. He's so good at showing a journey, a character journey, be it the Lighthouse, where they're just trapped in one place, but these two characters evolve on screen like you've never seen before, and it's or devolve, should we say?
yeah. But that's why, right? Like he's so good with characters, and he's also so good with visuals. And I'm like, what else do you need, right, in a Star Wars? Especially if you are co-writing with someone who will get you all the Star Wars lore and terminology and everything else. Like you can craft an amazing movie.
Just need some swashbuckling in there.
I mean, you took my number 2, Adam. So.
was that we were talking beforehand? Was that the yeah. All right.
He was actually on my list too.
Oh, look at that. All right. Consensus. Get him a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. That is pretty funny. Grant, who else you got?
Guys, I think since Tony Gilroy is getting Cassian, I think we should have like a Catherine Bigelow, Zero Dark 30. Like a woman step up and do a tactical endeavor, do a big war film of some kind.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking Catherine Bigelow just because I just think that if Tony Gilroy is doing one, he's so good at doing those sort of films. And then I love Zero Dark 30. Why not her?
Yeah. And I mean, like her action credentials are like up there. Like again, giant visuals, like really good set pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Felucia too.
Yeah, Felucia. We're all just Felucia. They're all Felucia movies. They're all just gonna be like 17 different directors' take on the Battle of Felucia.
Right. That'd be great. It'll be the Felucia trilogy. I've got the guy for the third movie then in the Felucia trilogy.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah. I don't know. I love listening to his list because I'm like, how did I not think of that person like Peter Jackson
because he's too big. And
but
you think of him with, he'll always be the Lord of the Ring guys, unless he does a
super big, but he's super weird too.
Yes,
like watch early Peter Jackson, and if you watch like
Meet the Feebles,
Meet the Feebles, Brain Dead, like you watch these movies, Dead Alive. Like so, I think we've done this multiple times on this thing
before.
Yeah, same movie, different title. Brain Dead was the name of the New Zealand title, and Dead Alive was the American title. Blah blah blah. I just know that from working in the. But like you watch those movies, like that's the guy who directed.
And Weta, his like VFX group is elite. It's a natural fit. If he ever gave a hoot about Star Wars, I don't know if he's been ever. I imagine someone asked him at some point, but I don't know how he feels about it. But I think, it fits, right? Imagine all the weird creatures. It could be like, live action effects like Ewoks, but with like a different species. And
oh, I love that. Yeah, 100%.
Am I up next? Is it you, Adam?
I think it's me, right? So I think I like this because I think our second round picks are going for kind of larger directors in some ways, right? Like not that Catherine Bigelow's the giant director, but she directs some pretty big movies. Yeah. So my big one, and I'm trying not to borrow too much from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, though multiple ones keep coming up.
Oh boy,
Ryan Coogler.
Yeah. He was on my list.
I think he is announced to be. Oh no, is he directing?
I don't.
I'm thinking Justin Simeon's doing Lando.
Yeah,
actually, but Coogler's name, I don't know. It might have come up.
It's been floated, right? So I tried to avoid some of those. But here's the thing: his name kept going from number 2 to number 3, number 4, number 5, number 7, number 2, kept going up and down. And I was talking to my wife about this because she's doing a section she teaches high school English, and she's doing a section on comic books and representation. And so it's a whole thing. And I mentioned that I was between him and another director who will probably get an honorable mention. And she's like, yeah, I want to see him do what this is her. I want to see him do the Lando movie post episode 9, where he's with the stormtroopers looking for their families. And I'm like the thing about Coogler is, and this is not a groundbreaking observation, but he can do social commentary and action in a way that doesn't make you realize you're actually watching social commentary.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like Black Panther, like the social commentary in that movie is amazing. And people who normally wouldn't pay attention to that social commentary are not realizing they're being taught lessons in that movie. And so I think he can do that in a way that'd be amazing. And that story would be super interesting.
I've got a pitch for him. It'll be Seven Samurai in reverse. They'll all be a bunch of warriors trying to find their homes.
That's great. So you actually,
so they're trying to split up,
but you lose them as you go through the movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
Ben. That's amazing.
And
like
that is work in concert, and where it happens to trigger each other, or their planets are in conflict or something. And and
that is like a brilliant elevator pitch, though, right? Literally, they could be like, "It's Seven Samurai, but in reverse."
Roll credits. Yeah.
That's great.
Wait, that's awesome though, and each one gets picked off throughout the film.
Yeah,
that's scary and fun, and it's kind of like Rogue One, but better planned out.
I mean, some of them can have happily ever.
Right, they just leave for their family. Like they just decide to no longer continue.
But you need Lando's hijinks in order to make it work, to talk your way through a guard post, or whatever has to happen there. I'm sure there'll be battles. There'll be an overarching battle they have to deal with. There's some sort of conflict in a region or something.
I like it a lot.
All right.
Grant.
Guys, I mean, I have a pick that I think this person should have always done this person should have done a Star Wars film right off the bat. But I could also pick a cool pick.
What do you guys want?
I want a cool pick.
Yeah, that's a cool pick.
Look at me.
I think a Nicholas Winding Refn Star Wars film, like a cool film that really focuses on the cool of the cyberpunk underworld of these planets all around the galaxy. All neon, almost the Lando show, almost what that aesthetic should be, almost in my mind. Just Star Wars, neon, crime, crime lords. We're pushing into crime lords, and they're each one owns turf, and it's It's almost like a Guy Ritchie film, but it's.
Would it be on like Nar Shaddaa? Like, would it be like super like because you think of like Drive and Neon Demon, like
yeah, exactly. That's what it would be. It would be like
it's so interesting. No, because full honesty, you said it. I'm like, no, and then the second I started talking, I'm like, maybe, like I think that would be. He totally could do that. That'd be fascinating.
I didn't even hear what name you said.
Nicholas Winding
Refn.
Refn, is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
It's like it's REFN, right? It's Refn.
Yeah, I guess.
There's no.
Not familiar with. I've never heard that name before.
Yeah. Have you seen Drive? You've seen Drive though.
Oh,
right?
Drive. Okay.
Yeah. Drive. Did you see the Neon Demon?
No.
It's divisive, but I really enjoy it.
The photography is insane.
It's a beautiful movie. Really I think it's just like
neon work, like Pipe Williams-esque, like incredible neon work in the film, and also in Drive and Only God Forgives. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
I think that is a cool pick, man. I think that's the kind of thing I think we should be going for, like young, fun filmmakers trying to make important films and having a style. Like, there you go. Just like, they don't have to be the Star Wars person. I don't think it's like actors where it's like, all right, you're a young, no one knows you actor and you get into a Star Wars and you're kind of always kind of cursed by that, right? Like you're a Star Wars person forever. But I don't think directors, it works that way. They can sort of dip in, show their vision, and then dip out to whatever else they want to do, if you can normalize it like that.
I was also thinking Ang Lee. Ang Lee should have directed Star Wars, like, right away. Like, he should have been brought in, like, to do one big Star Wars film that's, like, almost like this poetic journey for characters. Like these sweeping Jedi Masters.
So that was your
Jedi
other
Master
name?
story.
Yeah.
Ang Lee's interesting. Like, I it's so funny. I used to, when I was being young and ironic, but now I'm just old and ironic. But like I saw Hulk in the theater, and it gave me a migraine the first time I saw it. And follow me on this journey. And for a long time, my thing would be like, when a movie was bad, if it was really bad, I'd be like, it was Hulk bad. I have revisited the Hulk, and I kind of think it's a masterpiece. I've completely come back around on that movie.
You think of Hulk and that opening, that music.
Yeah.
Inspired every comic book movie after that. If you look at every comic book movie and the score and the composers, like, it is like that same progression.
I feel like I owe him an apology. I just wasn't there. Like, I wasn't ready yet for it when it came out.
It's too good at times, and then it just totally drops the ball. Rough.
It's wild.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I'm talking more to like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
Like Brokeback. I'm talking more to, all that.
Life of Pi, even like
Life of Pi, like Eat,
Drink. You heard about the amount of CGI in Crouching Tiger, or not Crouching, in Brokeback Mountain?
No.
The sheep budget is amazing. Like the CGI sheeps in that film, like just Google CGI sheeps in Brokeback Mountain. He added so much because he did not want to deal with sheep, because apparently in one of his old movies he had issues shooting around sheep. So he's just like, CGI. He just insisted on CGIing most of the sheep in that movie.
You just get some sheep wranglers and you just grab them and you just chuck them. You just throw them in the right direction.
I don't know. He was traumatized by sheep in an early shooting.
But also like, when you picked Robert Eggers, like that's also like David Lowery and Ari Aster and all these other incredible. Oh yeah, keep going. You guys keep going.
What do you got, Adam? What do you
I have Ari Aster as my number 3.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Okay, all right.
It was amazing. So I went to similarly. I didn't want to say this from the jump because I didn't want to like spoil my surprise, but I went to 2 places. I often, when I'm thinking about movie directors, I think of horror movies, because so many amazing directors started out in horror because it's inexpensive and you can get them made and you can get them done. And I mean, again, look at Peter Jackson, right? Like look at Guillermo Del Toro, who is number 8 on my list, which we can talk about. But I think Ari Aster.
Guillermo Del Toro.
Yeah. Oh no, we're just like, this is like a rolling list of just messing with each other's choices. This is so much fun. I think Ari Aster is amazing at setting dread and tone. He has two of my favorite horror movies in recent history and probably of all time. I think Hereditary and Midsommar are just amazing movies. And my favorite thing about both those films is that the things that sit with me that are the most horrific are moments of human moments. Does that make sense? Like it's not the supernatural moments in those. The death of one of the humans in Hereditary is horrible, and then in Midsommar, the death of an elder, as well as just the opening. Like one of my favorite things in Midsommar is that the human dread element in that movie is the opening. So I'm like, when I saw it in the theater, I'm like, oh, good. He did it at the beginning, so I can get that horrible feeling out of the way. It just sits with you through the rest of that movie, what that main character goes through. I think he writes humans and human suffering really well. I know that sounds really horrible, but I also think
no one loves suffering quite as much as you, Adam.
I can feel the suffering.
I know I'm a weirdo. I'm such an optimist and believe in humans and the love of humans and the ability of humans to do good with one another. My comfort movies are horrible movies where horrible things happen to horrible people and horrible people do horrible things to other good people.
The Sith. This is like the definitive Sith.
Yeah, I think he can write the fall of a person to the dark side in an amazing way. Like, again, I went to Ryan Coogler for my big movie.
Yes.
Edgar's and Asteroid are gonna do smaller movies, but I think they can do dark side stuff in a way that makes you understand. I think we have on this podcast litigated and talked about and now completely understand Anakin's fall to the dark side.
Yeah.
I think Ari Aster could make a movie where you would watch that movie, you would walk out of that movie going, yes, I understand that person's fall, and I would have fallen in the same way.
Yeah, we were like a proliferation of like hopeful, sort of mythic, sword and sorcery, and war Star Wars and epic scale Star Wars. Like we now need like a dark side story. Like it's all hopeful, really, and it's now we need to explore more. They need the Batman of Star Wars, basically. They need someone who can get down and do like the dark side. I don't know, someone's fall to the dark side, like you said.
Yeah, as long as it's not directed by Matt Reeves.
I thought it was kind of funny that a lot of the movies we've been talking about have been dark side movies. I know we all secretly yearn for that, and we talk about it kind of every week with Acolyte's like our favorite movie coming up. It wouldn't be a terrible idea for Lucasfilm to go on a run of dark side fall, essentially be origin stories, like people falling to the dark side and then or creating characters on the dark side. And then they can sort of pick the best ones to then be villains in later films.
Oh, that's really interesting. You actually, I like that a lot. You can almost build that universe, right? Where if we're part of it's if we're going, if we haven't really talked about time settings for these, but if these movies are going to be post episode 9, maybe that's how you build the universe is you start creating a stable of light side and dark side. Right.
Yeah. And you could start with dark side and then just sort of see how they play and sort of
how does Rey deal with these new Sith that are being born from movies? Actually, I don't feel very good for Rey's chances if we're talking about the Sith coming out of an Ari Aster movie.
That's what I'm talking about, though. That's what we want, right?
Yeah.
The biggest challenge in Star Wars is getting a solid antagonist. No one will ever be as good as Darth Vader. At least Darth Vader's the watermark, right? So it's try and reach that. And who can do it? But they need a villain, that iconic at all, and it's a hard thing to do.
Ben, I think are we at number 9? We went real fast.
Suddenly. Yeah, we just started rolling. I was gonna say in line with what Grant was saying. I can't believe they haven't made a Star Wars yet. Is Guillermo Del Toro?
It would be amazing.
He's just so stylized. He came from the prop department, right? That was his origin. So it just makes sense. And his world building is amazing. I think he could just, and his storytelling's fantastic. I think he would make just a perfect Star Wars.
I mean, I just watched Nightmare Alley recently and it was I wasn't a huge fan at first, like watching it, and then like after I watched it, I was endeared to it, and I was like, this is a beautiful story, and I just feel like the cast just knocked it out of the park. It was Kate Blanchett blew my mind.
Grant's opening line of Reaction Nightmare Alley is every it was like every review of that movie that I've read is like like
that's you'll feel the same way after you watch that film, trust me. You'll be like I loved it at the end.
Yeah. But I think who would not, I would love to see his Eye of the Webbish Bog. Like give me his version of Eye of the Webbish Bog.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great. We've wanted creatures like.
Yeah,
he would give you the movie or the trilogy that's just littered with aliens and special effects.
Give him Grogu and Mando.
Yeah,
because he would do a great job with them. I feel like.
Yeah,
I don't know. That could be a fun journey.
The search for Grogu's home planet, where like there actually is a world where that species comes from.
Yes,
and it's. Bonkers.
Guillermo Del Toro gets to explore that.
Or like
sense. He's all the puppets, so it makes perfect sense.
His take on Dagobah would be amazing. He was on my list for sure. And sorry, I ruined it for you, Ben. But like he would be amazing. And I think again, this is nothing groundbreaking, but he loves monsters and he loves making the monsters lovable and relatable and people you cheer for and give him some aliens and some monsters and let him work his magic.
Any other honorable mentions y'all want to bust out other than Spike Lee? Spike Lee
I'll throw out some.
List too.
Yeah, I got some. I got two categories before we do it. I have I want to round out like my list. We don't have to go into deep of like people I mentioned, and then I have honorable mentions. And when we get to those, I want to talk about why I did not include them in my list. I have a very specific reason, but you just want to kind of like finish up other people that we might have chosen or were kind of on our list.
Yeah, I want to see the Jordan Peele Star Wars film.
Yep, that's one on mine.
See that?
Yeah, that was the one.
That might be droids. That might be I don't know. Yep. That would be something crazy. I
just feel like he'd never do it, but I guess
I don't know. I think
he's so good at what he's doing right now. Like I don't know. He probably is going to want to get out of the genre at some point, but
he could do that genre. And after seeing like the trailer for Nope, that's when I was just like, yeah, I want him to do a Star Wars.
So good.
Yeah, he was on my list too. He fell
social
a little bit below.
Yeah, he should have been on there. Yeah.
Another one on my list, which I kind of kept moving around, was Chloe Zhao. I know she was supposed to and then taken off, and that's why I kind of didn't include her. But like, here's the thing: it's gonna sound like a backhanded compliment, and maybe it is, but she made an Eternals movie for me watchable. And I think she would like her Alien Worlds would look amazing if she did this like grand scope Alien Worlds movie.
Right, it would be like on location and
and exactly like
locales,
like the original trilogy, right? And make places on Earth look like things you haven't seen on Earth.
Finding those locations, scouting for those places is like so essential to the films. Yeah.
What else we got? Ben, you got anyone else on your list that you mentioned?
I have like 20 people on my list. I just started writing names.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go, Ben.
I could speed round it. Bong Joon-ho is up there.
Oh, think about it, but yeah. That'd be great. Yeah,
he'd be a good one. And then I was just like thinking crazy stuff like Spike Lee. I was like, I wonder if he always.
These are like Coruscant movies. Like I feel like Bong Joon-ho would be some Coruscant. Like
that would be good there. Yeah, I don't know, like what Spike. I don't know, unless he had something in his back pocket that he's always wanted to do. But he's like, I don't think he'd ever care. I thought about Jane Campion, but then I remembered that I hated The Power of the Dog. So then
I still haven't seen it, but I think she could still do it and it would look beautiful. She's one of the people on that list, though, that I didn't include because I'm like, never, ever, ever would she ever do that.
I thought about
it was interesting character work, and it was a fun story, but it was slow moving, I must say. Like almost like things I felt about the Batman were reoccurring when I was watching Power of the Dog. I was like, why?
So you're saying I'm going to love Power of the Dog?
Yeah.
It was like even slower and clunkier than I thought it should have been.
I'm on board.
It was a bummer. It was a bummer. It was so clunky in the beginning. I'm like, what are they trying? Like, what is she trying to do? It's like so hyper minimalist.
I don't want to watch this movie because I feel like I'm gonna come back next week and be like, do you know what my favorite movie of 2022 was?
It's gonna legit be like, I'm showing Power of the Dog to my class.
I had another friend tell me that she hated it and explain why she hated it. I'm like, I think I'm gonna love this movie.
Yeah. Well, have a great time watching that movie.
I've been wrong.
It might be a good comfort movie for me. Who knows?
Right. You're right. I love this. When everyone's crying, drunk. It's great. I was gonna troll you guys and say Terrence Malick, but I knew that would go down a big tree of life.
I don't know. It'd be beautiful. There'd be like a weird segment.
Lightsaber. The first lightsaber is Terrence Malick. That's what the first lightsaber.
That's all it would be.
That story.
And then a weird 20-minute interstitial in the middle, like, looking at the
ignites. At one point, you're like, "No way, it's the first lightsaber."
Yeah.
The guy like fights and flips that.
Right. Yeah. It's like 2 kyber crystals and some twine.
Yeah. But it'd be like about a father and son
I'm here for this
who are talking past each other, and then it would go back to the life cycle.
You clean your living room when you're vacuuming, you put it on the background
of that planet, and there'd be like dinosaur versions.
I would love that, actually.
Adam throws so much shade at Tree of Life. He's under the shade for that movie.
I know, and I don't want to rewatch it because I know I'll love it if I rewatch it, but I love my hate for it.
It's a great background movie while you're cleaning.
Yeah.
While you're taking care of.
I buy that. That sounds right.
Sion Heater, because she made a movie called Coda, and it rhymes with Yoda.
So therefore,
wow. Yeah, you're really just spitballing there.
I really threw a lot of the wall.
Change one letter. It's a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I know. And then I was like thinking about
our own guys, like Children of Men, like
yeah.
Prisoner of Azkaban. He's already proven to go into a franchise and make the best.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot, and it's my favorite. It's my favorite Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, solid.
I don't know. To me, that's easy. That's like yes. Let's do that. Roma was like my favorite movie that year.
Oh, me too. That should have won. I love that movie. I have one that I put on my list and then put way down at the bottom for technical reasons, and it was George Miller. Because again, George Miller can make an amazing film and plays.
George Miller is like James Cameron to me, though. That's like, or like Christopher McQuarrie doing the Mission Impossible films. That's like a giant action epic.
Yeah, exactly. However,
would never finish it. That would be the movie that put him in his.
But George Miller, that's the most artfully done, maybe though. Like,
so here's I put him down. I put next to him. Probably be dead by then. Would never finish, or would go crazy making this film for 5 years in a desert somewhere. So that's why I took George Miller off my list or put him way down because I'm like, I'd love that film. Never gonna happen. I put Edgar Wright because I love Edgar Wright, even though I did not love what's the last Last Night in Soho. It looked beautiful. It had some really cool stuff happening. It didn't really come together for me, but I'm always an Edgar Wright stan, and I would have loved to see his Ant-Man, even though I love the Ant-Man we got. And so give him a Star Wars. I think he could do something fun.
That's a very plausible idea. That could happen. It's good. Any more for you, Grant?
I think like Andrew Dominic, who did the Jesse James assassination of Jesse James, do some kind of crime, crime thrillers in Star Wars. That would be really fun, especially like maybe a duo even, and they're like backstabbing each other like Sith or something. Like I feel like that's almost what that film is in a lot of ways, like hiding details from each other.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like that. I like that pick a lot. I wouldn't have thought of that, but I like it a lot.
Yeah. Do you guys have more? Is Alex Garland directing yet, or is he still just writer? Like, he's been directing most of his films too, right?
I think so. I think he's directed those.
I know he's like an incredible writer.
He's an amazing writer. I just not 100% if he's directed. I mean, I'm just googling.
Yeah, he has. So yeah,
he has. Because did he direct Ex Machina?
Yes, he directed both of them. I think he directed all his films.
Yes, and although Annihilation did not 100% land for me, it's a beautiful looking film, and I think
it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's almost a gorgeous horror film. It's talking about The Lighthouse. Someone did The Lighthouse incredible on our list, and then I did not like the Lighthouse film at the end, fight at the end of.
No, I love most of that film, but I don't love that film. If that makes sense, like. I love everything about it except how it all comes together.
Yeah, the book is different too. I believe there's like different things that occur in the book versus the movie. I don't think it's exactly the same.
Did he also direct? Oh, he wrote and produced Dread, which was a really solid.
Well, he's a really good writer. I think.
Wait, Carl Urban is Dread.
Yeah, that movie
that was good.
That's really good. It is an underrated film that people do not realize is a good movie.
Yeah.
He also wrote
a beautiful Star Wars, dude. If they use the style of Dread,
yeah,
that would be an amazing Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's like black, white, and fluorescent pink. The whole movie.
He also wrote 28 Days Later and did rewrites on the sequel 28 Weeks Later, which are really great zombie movies.
I like both those.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah.
That would be a great Star Wars film. I don't know what that would be per se, but something fun. Do you guys have any more?
Hey, I mean, I don't.
Ben's
know.
got 13 more.
I've got well, I mean, actually, I wrote down a lot of the people that were doing episodes. I'm like, I don't know if these count.
Yeah, so
Kate Reed, Rick Famuyiwa,
let's
Alice Howard.
Oh, yeah, Rick.
Let's pause there for a second because those are my disqualified ones. So I have that list of people that I thought of, and then I'm like, oh well, they're already playing in the universe.
They're already in, yeah.
But yes, Rick Fukuyama and Bryce Dallas Howard, give them a movie because they have proven themselves.
Yeah,
because
they're ready. They're on deck. Like they should be. I would do that right away.
We know Deborah Chow is going to crush it and probably stay playing in that universe. And then we know Taika Waititi's there. We know even Damon Lindelof. I was going to pick him, but it's
right. He just
in there now.
He just got in there.
Yeah. And then I'm like, people who are in already, I'm not going to pick. Like it's already a sure bet we're getting those films.
I have a kind of a cheeky one that I don't mean to be cheeky. Lord and Miller.
Yeah, I almost Into the Spider-Verse is a Star Wars film, really.
Right. Yeah.
It has all the qualities of an incredible Star Wars film.
And I love the Solo movie we got. I mean, if we talk about it, it keeps climbing in my list, but I still want to just give them another movie. Like, I think they could direct an amazing Star Wars movie.
I think maybe, it didn't work because that was like, you were trying like two different powerhouses, like Lord and Miller, and then Larry,
the Kasdans.
Yeah.
And it was like, you had two very conflicting views. But if you take the Kasdans out of it and let them, come up with their own script and do their own movie, I think that would be a good movie. And I mean, also, I feel like I thought about that with Trevorrow too. I was like,
I almost put Trevorrow too.
Right, but like, so we're not going to give him the ultimate, installation of
Skywalker,
Skywalker thing, whatever. But like, just give him a Star Wars. He had a great. I loved his script. I loved where his head was at. There.
Again, maybe not backhanded. This is actually not a compliment at all. I do not like a Trevorrow movie. Like period. I do not.
End of sentence.
Any of them.
That was the only thing. I was like, I'd never get.
You like safety net. You like safety not yet guaranteed.
Kind of. I think it was a great thesis statement for a movie. Like, give me big movies, and they gave him big movies, and those movies are not good. And then I've heard stories about him act like his behavior behind the scenes, which doesn't make me love him. That all being said, we then read his script for episode 9.
It's good script.
Right? Which is really solid. And I'm like, okay, yes, you've proven that you can write in the Star Wars universe. So yeah, give him. But I agree, Ben. Don't give him just give him a standalone and see what he does. And same thing with Lord and Miller. I think they were also in the midst of a time when Disney was being very precious with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right. We only had some movies. We didn't have TV shows right now. And I think now we're getting more towards the experimental phase of Star Wars. And so I think they would be, if it was now, they probably would let them. Yeah, we'll see what you do with Solo.
It would also be a really good look for Kathy Kennedy to do that.
Yeah.
To be like, it's like, listen, I wasn't scolding them. It wasn't like, oh, you got fired. It was just like, no, that was a creative decision for that movie. But hey, I love what you do. Go make your movie now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's also like, is Star Wars supposed to stay this like swashbuckling epic, or can it be more modernized? Like I feel like Lord and Miller would modernize Star Wars in a way that no one has thus far. You know what I mean? Like it would be, they'd almost be like it wouldn't feel like a galaxy far, far away as much as it feels like our modern vernacular or something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the fear of that selection.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why he got pushed out of that last movie, was like it was a little too far out. But I don't know. I mean, as long as they follow the guardrails, they're pretty loose guardrails. I think.
Or maybe here's something. This kind of is another honorable mention is Tartarovsky. Like,
oh, yeah?
like
That's interesting.
So maybe you give Lord and Miller an animated feature Star Wars film, like their work on Into the Spider-Verse and the Lego movie. Like maybe you let them play in the animated universe, right? Sure. And do some, maybe we start building out animated Star Wars movies.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. That would be a good first step for them, to go deeper. But it would definitely, I think they would slay that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna murder this name, so I'm sorry. Is it Hwang Dong-hyuk, the Squid Game guy?
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's right. That sounds right to me.
I don't know, hot name, recent name, whatever. But that was a really fun series, and I like to see a bridge between like South Korean cinema.
Don't you want like Boba Fett to be Hollywood. That for a season where it's just like Death Game and it's just like these alien bounty hunters fighting each other in like an arena? Like, isn't that all you want for like an entire season? It's like
that's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the amazing. Bosk series. If you give me a Bosk series and
gladiatorial, like
game. There's something interesting there, right? Because there was like when we saw Bosk in the Clone Wars animated series, which was also because I remember we reviewed it when we did our Chewbacca retrospective before Solo. Remember that? It was like early in our days. Yeah. We watched that and there was like they were being hunted. Right, they were being hunted by Trandoshans.
Yeah, that's right.
And like that would be kind of an interesting movie. Like it's almost like Predator, right, on a planet, and you get Trandoshans and Wookiees hunting each other, and you get some humans in there too.
I'd kind of like a Dante's Inferno of like Bosk like falling through the penal system of the galaxy and just getting like darker and darker, and then finally
shedding limbs and regrowing them.
Yeah. And finding freedom at the other side or something. But
did you guys watch The King on Netflix? Did you guys see that movie?
No, I have not seen it. No.
That's David Michaud. He did The Rover too with R. Pats.
Oh yeah, I've seen The Rover. Yeah.
He might be The King. I think is like almost a Star Wars film in terms of like a ruler. Yeah.
It was Chalamet as the king, right? Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I remember you talking about it. Yeah,
but a Star Wars film.
Yeah, it does. That's a good call.
What about Darren Aronofsky, guys?
His name popped up in my brain, and then I kind of went no, but maybe.
That's also like the first lightsaber.
Yeah, it's.
It's like, and then there's a lightsaber. I don't know. Barry Jenkins, I thought his imagery is really good. Like his just cinematography has been on point lately. His character work is incredible. And I think here, do you guys have any others?
I mean, he would be great, but it would be sort of dark. I think I'm there at the. I think I'm at the bottom of the list.
James Mangold. I mean, like that's what I've always wanted. Really, it's just
interesting. Like we didn't. None of us put that on there. Sure. I think part of it is I always have this visceral memory of us with others going to go see Solo, and they on that morning they had semi-announced the James Mangold Boba Fett movie. Right. Do you remember walking into the theater talking about that and being so hyped for that? And that never happened. Yeah. And I still would love to see his Boba Fett.
I know.
Give me the Claire Denis Star Wars film.
Yeah.
Just give me the High Life. But it's it's we get our Pattinson in Star Wars as someone. Some kind of character.
I'm down. He's become quite an actor, man. I would love to have him in a Star Wars. I could see him as a swashbuckler, some wayward pilot.
That's about it. I don't know. John Krasinski. Sorry. The Quiet Place films are pretty. I mean, like strong, almost blockbuster horrors at this point that you can translate that to Star Wars in a fun way. Especially we're talking about the Leveler in the High Republic books. I'm like, dude, that is the Quiet Place in a lot of ways. It's like they're unstoppable creatures.
Yeah.
I kind of love that you guys have gone horror with so many of these, because I was like, well, I don't know, but like it would be really fun to see a crossover there and use some of those elements of horror writing. I mean, because the story's strong enough in all those movies that they've made so far.
In terms of directors that are no longer with us, like I guess Stanley Kubrick Star Wars film, like what does that look like?
Right.
Yeah.
Like what does a Kurosawa Star Wars film look like? Like a truly Kurosawa film.
That's like the snake eating its tail. I don't know.
What does like the David Lean Star Wars film look like? These are the people who inspired Star Wars, right? A lot of ways.
I was going to say pretty much 2001 is Kubrick's Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, Ivan Reitman would be interesting, like 80s Ivan Reitman. Like,
like they're still like, those are still like, I would just love to know what they would.
Harold Ramis.
Star Wars. Yeah.
This is making me now sad of all the Ghostbusters we've lost. Hey, we got Jason Reitman's version. Yay. Sorry.
And
then God forbid anything happens, but like a Spielberg sort of tribute Star Wars film that's done out of like a total tribute, but like, I mean, Spielberg.
Didn't we get that? It's called The Force Awakens.
Sorry. I guess that was.
Yeah.
I guess you're right, Adam. In a lot of ways,
it would be so.
It really is like.
JJ is just Spielberg like.
There's a lot of.
See Spielberg doing.
I don't know. Spielberg's just like a little bit. Janusz Kaminski like didn't shoot. It was Darius. It wasn't Janusz Kaminski. It was someone else who.
Right.
Awakens.
I can see like Lucas writing a script and Spielberg
shot The Force Awakens. Janusz like adds like a little bit more movement. It's a little bit more fun.
Yeah, that's true.
Spielberg films are fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it'd just be weird with that relationship that he has with Lucas. Like, I think Lucas would have to be involved. But
I think so. I mean, the rumors on episode 3 is that Spielberg was around the set quite a bit. And didn't like ghost direct, but like, gave pointers and tips and things like that. And
Spielberg is like, he always sees a Star Wars film before it comes out and gives the director notes. That's just what Spielberg does. He's like, George will bring it to me. I'll tell you what to do. Babu Frick. We have Babu Frick in the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, because of Spielberg, right? And so, but to go back to Ben, I feel like you're right. I think if you had Spielberg, Lucas would just be like, so remember all the times I let you come in? Can I be here now, please?
I would only see him doing it if it was like, George, come on to retirement. Listen, we'll co-direct. We'll like do this thing together. Let's just make a movie together. I've always wanted to make a Star Wars with you. Let's do this together. And then they would putter and have fun. It was something that they could have fun with and be like, yeah, we'll just make a fun Star Wars and play this together. And sorry for the maybe end on a bummer, it might be similar to a Stanley Kubrick thing where we got AI because Spielberg wanted to kind of do the last Stanley Kubrick story. So
the thing is, that's the thing that actually happens in Hollywood. There's impetus for that just because it's such a legendary mind. You know what I mean? Like, and so the work is then just executed upon by the best filmmaker at the time, and Spielberg and Lucas are the best filmmaker. Or
if we were incredible. Ever to get Lucas's version of the microscopic
the
wills, it would be a Spielberg directed version of that script.
That's almost what I'm talking about. The AI of stuff.
Exactly.
What would that be? That's all. What is that film? You know what I mean? To me, that's all fans want is George Lucas's next story, his next, whatever the wills are, whatever this is. I just think that we've been in it this long. It's almost like the show's now run by new people, and you're kind of like, I like the old swashbuckling romance epic that he was trying to do, like this rote Shakespearean thing. Like I don't care. It's fun. It's popcorn. It's like I don't think about it too much.
Which is a good flavor of Star Wars, right? They're supposed to be fun, farcical romps for the whole family and all that. And then we're like Aronofsky.
I mean, the Aronofsky, like the Noah-esque Star Wars film would be.
Oh, that movie is wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is sort of at the center of it. So, I mean, we're obviously trying to push some boundaries here. It's like
the mother of Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean,
that's never going to happen.
No. I will always stand up for Pi. It's the movie that, as a person who suffers from migraines, I watched that movie once and can never watch that movie again because it's so accurate that it makes me just nails on a chalkboard.
Visceral.
In a great way. Yeah.
I think Pi is an incredible film. I think it's like one of my favorite black and white films ever.
I agree. Watched it once. We'll never watch it again, but I think it's amazing because it makes me want to.
It's all about
drill my head.
Loud beeping throughout and it just hurts like your head. But it's just actually done, and I love it. That's how I like the Fibonacci sequence and all that stuff. Like that's like just numbers. Yeah. I grew fascinated by how it dealt with numbers.
I have to say, like, that scene, Ben mentioned it at the end of Pi, spoiler alert for a movie that's now 20 years old, at least 30. More 30. Like, as a person who suffers from migraines and was real bad, like that was the year they were the worst, and you just want to relieve the pressure in your brain that you feel. And I watched that happen in that movie to the point where I'm like, well, I'll never watch this movie again because it realized something like it was those moments of like, oh no, someone else thought that. Like I literally had that thought in my head at a moment. So anyway, nothing gets super dark. Didn't really do it or thought about doing it, but I just remember watching that movie going, yeah, that's amazing and true and real, and I'm never watching this amazing film again.
I love The Fountain though. That's one of my, I love that movie. It's a great watch. It's a great hang.
All right. Well, I feel like we've now run the gambit here. We gave our 9 most likelies and then 106 more.
Yeah, exactly. And then everyone else.
Yeah, everyone else. If we forgot to mention your name and you're a director, I'm sorry. Please go make a Star Wars. We didn't try to miss anybody. Anywho.
Oh, you know what? Oh, sorry. One more name. Ava DuVernay. We didn't mention. And I think could totally do it. I think Wrinkle of Time is not her fault.
Well,
does that make sense? I think it's beautiful. I think it's directed very well. I think it's script problems more than anything else. But I think that showed her ability to direct with a big budget and make something that looks amazing.
Right. Well, one of the people we know we're going to get a movie from is Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
I'm watching Our Flag Means Death.
Yes.
It's so good.
So good.
It is so good. Like, I will say, if you haven't watched it, watch it. We were just watching an episode last night. We're about 4 episodes behind on it, but we're just like, I remember watching the first 3 episodes going, I mean, I love Rhys Darby and this is fine, but I'm not really like drawn in. And then by episode 6, I'm like, I love everyone in this show. I want everyone to have a happy ending. I love the romance that's forming between 2 characters in particular. Where I'm just like, it's so good.
Wait, Taika and Rhys?
Oh, I mean, I like that romance, yes, but no, there's another more specific physical romance that's occurring between two.
Oh, Black Pete
and the
Lucius.
Lucius. I can't remember names, but I'm like, I am shipping these people hard.
Yeah.
but you don't know by like 5 episodes in, you're like, I care for all of these people in this weird show.
Oh no,
so good.
Oh, Jim and Alphonse, or I forget.
Yeah.
No, the show's
everyone.
Great. And I'm just like, oh yeah, no, like Taika Waititi puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like everyone else, except when he puts his pants on, he makes great movies. So.
Yeah.
It's just that easy for him. He's just amazing. And then of course he'll be in it because apparently he can't not be in it. And I would never want him not to be in one of his movies because like he's just the greatest character ever. Like Thor Ragnarok, like Korg was like amazing.
It's off Ghost. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just him tyking around. And like, I mean, actually his most serious role was probably IG-11. That was like,
right.
That was an actual like pretty serious role, but he's fantastic. So can't wait for that. And I definitely think that's a step in the right direction. We couldn't ask for more than he. So yeah, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see what comes next. It feels like, time for Kathy to let the dog off the leash a little bit and see what sort of new things, new sort of Star Wars stories there are to tell on the big screen. Next week, I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
We'll hit you up on the socials this week. And oh God, I just hate myself for saying that. We probably won't. But we really appreciate you listening to this podcast. And we hope you tune in next week. And as always, may the Force be with you.
This is Grex Kondak signing off. For the latest breaking news, follow @CoreWorldNews on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you, and good night.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.